All right, guys, welcome back. I've got some turbo stuff. I've got some wiring, a little bit of a plan here. So I'm going to get you flipped around and let's start the day. All right, so I've got my rad just kind of roughly mounted over here. This is one of the hoses. I don't know if it's from the XB or if it's from the Prelude, but it was one of the hoses I had laying around. This was one of the other ones, which oddly enough was identical on both the Prelude and the XB. This one doesn't reach quite where I want it to be. This one does. It has a little bit of a kink, but it's not bad at all. I don't think it's going to restrict flow at all. So rather than trying to find something that doesn't have quite as tall of a, or as aggressive of a bend there, I mean, I guess I could pull it back against the wall and it would straighten that out. I don't think that's going to be an issue. So I just had this roughly mocked up off cam. I was just kind of bored real quick. I think roughly about in there it's going to work. I have to put my crossbar back there, back in to see what my clearance is. And honestly, I think I'm going to have to do that first today before I do any of my other piping too, because I got to make sure I clear all of that. But I plan on doing injectors today. Getting as much of this stuff on as I can. There's not as much here as I was originally hoping. I don't think I have feed lines, return lines. There's a couple things I was going through that I was still needing to get. And this is all the piping for Prelude. So depending on if I end up running this or running the side mount, I might not have my piping and I'll have to order that. But this will get me started today. Also, I think I'm going to try and get that fuel pump wired up today. I have some connector stuff now, but I think I'm still waiting on my 0 gauge. I have 4 gauge, but I ordered 0 to run from the battery back to the starter, because I rather run 0 and then run the 4 from the starter alternator. But we'll see how impatient I get. I've got the Amazon special. Oh,
what's that?
Never mind. Always open your boxes first. It's the 0 gauge that I was just talking about not having. This is what I was talking about, is the Kill Mat, Dynomat knockoff. So I can run along this, let's call it firewall, and get some sound deadening in there. Well, cool. Now after opening that box, I realized I have a little bit more I can do. So I'm going to get you guys set up and let's get cracking. All right, so I got my 4 gauge wire that's going to run from alternator over to the starter. And that's kind of, the starter is just going to act as my junction box. The 0 gauge is going to run from the battery to the starter there, and they're both going to connect off that terminal. So I kept the original loom there, just ran my wire through there. Got our little 3/8 terminal ends on there. Heat shrink with the glue in it, that way it stays all nice and sealed. I'll end up doing the same thing on the 0 gauge side. This is just some hacked up stuff when I just want to test it. So that'll all get changed here after the back is done. Run my 0 gauge all the way through, and then I'll run that same style of terminal ends I just showed you right there. And then that should be good for that. So just figured I'd stop and show that side of it and keep on rocking. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the old header pulled so I can get that guy in. So I'll set you up on time lapse and get cracking. All right, so clearance on that is upsetting me because it's hitting right there, and that's without everything else even on. So I'm getting annoyed. So I'm going to move over to do my injectors. So I've got to pull my fuel line off, which is fine because I want to reroute it now that I have a little better idea of where the radiator is going to sit. So I'll pull that off, pull my return off, and then boop, boop, and boop. Pull the rail out, put new injectors in, plug them in, button all that up, and then see where we're at after that. Okay, so injectors are done, hooked up. Searching down my starter issue right now. I don't have power going to the exciter wire, so I'm emailing with the guy that I got the stuff from. Is it Jason Waters? And he's emailing back as we speak right now. So he's helping me trace down what my issue is there. So hopefully I'll actually be able to go inside and push the key, or I guess not key, but the push button, and hear it crank. Now obviously I don't have anything else hooked up. I don't even have fuel in it. Don't have rad hooked up, that kind of stuff. So it's not going to start, but as long as I can hear it turn over, that'd be kind of nice to hear. From there, off cam, I'll end up doing some of my Dynomat stuff to get the sound deadening on. Yeah, I don't know what else I really have that I can actively do because I don't have my radiator hose. I'm messaging with a buddy of mine that I got the turbo kit from to see what our issue is there. I was told it was for an H22, specifically for a Prelude, so it should fit without any clearance issues. So waiting to hear back on that. So I don't really want to push on that side of it, but I do have some other things I need to order for that anyways. Feed lines, drain lines, downpipe, waste. Nope, never mind. Anyways, I've got some other things I got to order too. So depending on where I get with this starter dealio, I might end up calling it early to go get some of that stuff ordered, but we will see. So I'm going to do some off-cam stuff, and then I'll bring you guys back if I have something worth noting. But there you have it. All right, guys. So I ended up getting the kill mat on. radiator, it's still just like not actually hooked up. Obviously clamps aren't on and it's not bolted. Obviously, maybe it's not obvious. That is sitting too high, so it needs to be moved a little bit. I just got it setting in there, but I ran my wires down to it and then got the starter issue figured out. So stupid. I'll explain that in 1 second. I also did the mat on the inside, so we're double sound protection. So here we got fan, turns on. Fuel pump does work. I don't have it wired back up yet because I don't have the actual nuts for this. I don't know where they are, so I'm gonna have to pull it out, go match up nuts, and get that on. Also, there's no fuel in it, so I really don't want to run it. So my issue with the starter, here's your starter, doesn't work. And I messaged him and he said you got to push up. So that was stupid, but how beautiful is that noise? Very excited about that. I also have all my accessory stuff hooked up to the key, so that's all tied in as well. The battery is not officially mounted. I've got my ground wire, all my power wires and everything. I did a little bit too much. I don't know. I don't really want to cut them because like these ones I've done nicely. This one I could. But this battery is going to sit in here, but I need to make a tray for it. It can go up through the bottom is how it fits in, and then it'll slide over there. So kind of a pain in the butt to deal with, but how often do you really got to change it? I want to weld that before I put fuel into, just because that's what I like to do, I guess. So that's done. This is the wiring for the XB side, the body side of it. This just normally has a bolt that has the clamp that comes off and goes right on top of the power. And I did this all nice, and then I realized I didn't have anything that could go around that. So unfortunately, it's a little bit ugly right now. It's just wrapped in electrical tape, and then I just strapped that up. I'll find something to make that look a little bit more pretty down the road, maybe. Honestly, I'm not too worried about how nice underneath here looks, because it's just for fuel. Nobody's even going to look up there. But there you have that. I think that's going to do it for this one, just because I'm going to be waiting for ordering parts, I believe, again, unfortunately. There might be some little things, you know, lower rad hose would be nice to get on. These are heater hose, which I suppose I actually could run, because I've got, just need to fix that one, but I could actually run a heater, and then I need my brake booster vacuum run back. So that might be something that's off cam. I don't think you guys really care to see that. Yeah, I don't really have a good list of what needs to be done right now, because it's like things pop up here and there. Obviously the body work, but that's something that I don't know. At first I was like, oh, that's the easy part. And now I'm just dreading dealing with it, because it's just so much block sanding. But yeah, overall, pretty happy so far. Just want to hear the thing actually fire off. But I'm going to start figuring out what I need to do for the turbo kit. Get some stuff ordered. Maybe do some small plucking away while things are on order off cam. But I think that'll do it for this one.